Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. So today we're going to do another entry in a new sketchbook that I have. This is from Boaohong. And it's tomatoes, obviously. All types of tomatoes. Threw in some flowers and a couple herbs. Super easy. Fun to play with these, elements. Tomatoes. I'm using hydro watercolor. I'm using regular watercolor from Holbein. I actually added a fountain pen and a brush pen at the end. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Let me know what you're filling your sketchbook with. It's always kind of good to have a theme. And if you're stumped for themes, well, come here and I'll give you some ideas. Also, check out my Patreon. I have ad-free videos, traceables, exclusive tutorials, and a live stream in the top tier. It's just a place people go and support my channel, which I appreciate so much. We also have a Facebook group where we do weekly challenges and monthly giveaways. So without further ado, let's get to painting the tomato. All right, so let's go over what I'm using. I am using a Boaohong watercolor sketchbook. This is pretty heavy, actually. I've been in search of like the perfect sketchbook for me to take on my travels, and I don't know if I'll be taking this one. It's kind of heavy. It's like a leather, kind of padded, and it has the elastic, which is nice to hold it tight, like secure at the end. And the size is not bad. I painted a couple of things in here already, but I find like if you get your fingers on it, it's gonna resist the paint, so you can't even touch it. And when you're out and sketching and you get your hands all over the place, it's kind of like inevitable, right? So whatever, we'll play with it anyway. They have amazing like blocks that I love, and a lot of very super professional watercolorists use their blocks. So I figured I'd try this sketchbook. I think it was around $20-something. It's in my Shop My Supplies list. I've been playing around with my Princeton 10 round Velvet Touch series. I might get into the 12 Aqua Elite also. If I need to use a pointy kind of brush, I always grab my Princeton 8 long round. I'm going to start to try and use some smaller ones too, but this is a loose tutorial. You see I've got the tomatoes here, I've got some garlic over here, I might be playing with my hydrus watercolors too, because they're so intense with the color, which I love. Just like print out like some tomatoes if you don't have them around you, like what tomatoes look like and the names of them, all that kind of fun stuff. And I was thinking about doing both sides of the sketchbook and see how that goes. I'm going to grab a clip to make sure it stays down. So it's a sketchbook. I clipped it down. And you don't need to have a super plan, but it's good to always kind of sketch out some stuff on the sketchbook. So I'm just using a mechanical pencil, and where you want to place everything. We've got the beefsteak, which are kind of like really big tomatoes. So I'm just going to draw out these like really big round tomatoes, and they're little, I don't know what you call them, but they're little like leaves on top. It must be a special name. And they basically look like this. See how I do the round circle? Kind of loose. And like these little kind of swingy kind of V's in a way. Some can be like this, and you can have a stem just like that, right? And then we've got these pear tomatoes. You see them yellow. We kind of grow those in our yard, right? It looks like a pear tomato because it's a pear shape. Then you have those green zebra tomatoes. And put this, like, just looks, again, they look just like the same tomato, but when we do wet on wet, we'll get that kind of zebra look in with the little lines and all that fun stuff. And then we have your typical like cherry tomatoes. Those are the tiny ones. Just do like a little bunch of little ones. They can come in red, they can come in yellow. So when you're in your sketchbook, think, do you want everything red? I don't know, maybe not. They're all different types. There are Roma tomatoes, kind of like that. San Marziano kind of Roma tomatoes. I'm sorry, San Marziano is different. They kind of look like this, like a oblong shape. I'm going to kind of put some over here. That's what you make the best pasta sauce with. San Marziano. They're the best. I mean, any other kind of tomato, Italians just use all those, and you see those. So we're going into the other page now. And up here we can kind of play around with adding some like garlic. See how it looks? You can kind of do like the little thing it's attached to, or just kind of make the little V for the garlic and put a couple little cloves kind of hanging there, right? You can put another, maybe a smaller green zebra or the top of a tomato, right? So looking down on the tomato, and you would have the little greens coming this way. And at the end, we're going to paint like some kind of border. So on the other side, do something similar. Maybe, oh, there's those black Crim tomatoes. Let me just move my palette here. Again, same, similar, but they have those like little ridges, kind of like this, like the heirloom tomatoes, and they go like this. I love the heirloom tomatoes, right? They're the best. And you can draw those kind of like head on too, where they kind of wrinkly, go like that in the middle. They have those funky shapes. They're not really like a round shape, they kind of go in like that. And then again, we could add some more regular round Cherokee purple ones. I have my chart here. I'm looking at my chart. Did San Marziano, kind of plum is a little bit different. I'll do like a little plum one here. Plum tomatoes. Do we do green beefsteak? I think we did. Oh, do green beefsteak, like just kind of looking down on it. You know, and then you could add some garlic cloves over here. In between all that. We're going to start painting it really loosely and then see where it goes. So I just grabbed my tan brush. You know, I love this. If you want to just do the hydrus right out of the gate, like, look at that color. Whoa, such a tomatoey color, right? And I'll show you that this paper. So it's pretty loose. This looks like a beefsteak kind of color. Let me go back and got a little more of that. Woo, intensity. And when you're painting in a sketchbook, it doesn't have to be some serious kind of like, so that's kind of pinkish when it goes on the paper. I kind of like to leave a little white halo. So the color is too pinky red. I don't know. This is the vermilion. I would probably go into a deeper color. I have my cadmium red light, which is a nice color. I can just kind of throw that into the same hydrus. There we go. That looks much more like a tomatoey color. It's like an orangey red. See how I left that little halo? I'm just going to loosely stick this one into. You can do ink and wash, draw it all out, and then use your ink, or do vice versa afterwards. For that green tomato, let's just do all the red ones first. It's kind of good. Once you have your paint, it's kind of good to do all the colors first, right? I could try this hydrus. Let's see, the red one, the carmine. Ooh, that's really intense. So maybe that would be really good for some of the San Marzianos or the other ones. Let's see. Ooh, yeah. See that red? Just throwing that in. I love the loose look. I'm using the number 12, by the way. Aqua Elite. And just kind of filling this in. It's a great red color. If it dries lighter, it's kind of pinky, you can kind of go back over it with another wash of color. You know, I like the color though. The San Marziano. I mean, the yellow one, pear tomato, just grab some yellow. You see this over here, I'm grabbing my cadmium yellow deep. I'm grabbing it right from the tube. You can grab a little orange in there if you want and just kind of go in here. Now see, my finger must have been over here. It's kind of resisting. This is what I've noticed from the sketchbook, but you know, I have it, I gotta use it. Just the little yellow tomatoes. And so for the green, just take a little bit peacock blue, mix in with my cadmium yellow deep. Get that bright green. You need a couple of green colors. So you get this like medium green, a little bit deeper, and a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna grab more paint. It's a really bright chartreusey color. See? And then we have a deep green we'll make with Prussian blue, a little bit of yellow. I use a little bit of umber also. Make a nice deep green. And that would be for this green zebra one. So how to paint that? Go in with the chartreusey color first. Just really kind of loose. See, it's kind of resisting. I must have had my hand there. Or maybe it's not my hand. Maybe it's just the paper itself that in sketchbook. Sometimes you find that and it's not pleasant. So I'm just going to wash in that color first. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Make the same tomato. All right, I've switched my brush into the number 8 long round from Princeton Velvet Touch series. So I want to do the zebra, and it's kind of like a different kind of colors. You kind of go like this, curve down, and it's going to bleed a little bit. See the little stripes? Hence the name zebra. Some have little dashes and dots. And you go like this. Now it's going to go shh, but we want it to do that. Little tappies here. And a little darker on the bottom. I'm going to grab a little bit of that dark green that we mixed up. And it's a little thicker, the paint, less water, so it's not going to bleed as much. Just give you a nice variety of the colors of the greens. That's how you do like the little zebra. Go back up in here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to look kind of like a zebra tomato. So this one's kind of dried. I might have to go back in and add a little swipe of color wet. Not super wet, just a little damp, so it does that nice pretty bleed. So here I go again. Just kind of, this time you're going to go inward like this. And it will do all the work for you, kind of bleeding. See it? It's bleeding like that. It's doing all the work. You can tap a little darker color on the edges because it would be darker. And it will look like the zebra tomato. This one got a little too crazy. I might remove some color here. Boom. My brush. Lifting up and then going back in and adding that bright chartreusey color. But this kind of looks like, it kind of reminds me of like a watermelon kind of stripe. Yes. And then we had the little cherry tomatoes. Again, I can mix all these red colors together. Get like a different kind of red. Don't want it to be all the same. Just fill that in now that I have my 8 in my hand. It's kind of perfect size brush to use in the smaller ones. And just fill that in the same way we did this one. Okay, grab some red. Now this one's kind of dry. You can go back in with another swipe of color to give it some like that tonality and variation so it looks 3D. Or you can keep it flat. I'll do a combination of a couple of them. Remember, it's a loose sketch. It doesn't have to be this perfect thing. So here I'm going back in with that color. And then just go across the page, deciding the heirloom could be that tomato. I'm moving all my stuff over here. Where it's multicolored. Then there's the beefy purple one. So you maybe want to add a little, if I add Prussian blue to my color red over here, I get that. I'm going to add a little magenta. There's the purple color. And I kind of bleed some of the purple with the red. How will I do that? Let me ask. You're going to ask me. Well, we'll start off with the red kind of here. Right? That's from the carmine. I'm going to go back and use that. A little splash. So it's like reddish purple. Purple on the top of it, reddish on the bottom. Kind of just going like this. And then I'm going to grab that purple color. See? Purple. It's not a bright, pretty purple. It's like a reddish purple. So I mixed ultramarine blue. Excuse me, sorry. Prussian blue with my hydrus carmine. If you have just red, just do that. And you get that purple color. Kind of cool. And I'm leaving little white lines in there. I didn't leave a white halo, but hey, you win them. Can't win them all. And then we have the combination like where it's orange and red and yellow. So I'm grabbing some of those colors for that heirloom. So a little yellow. And I'll bleed in some orange areas and get a little green in there too with those heirlooms. So it's a combo. I like combos. Little orange. Having fun with that. Yellow, orange, little red splotches. So you just tippy tap and it looks like an heirloom tomato. Those are my favorite. Do you grow tomatoes? I grow them. Sometimes they have good years. Sometimes we have really insanely crappy years. You know, I don't know what's going to happen sometimes. Then we have the green beefsteak. Gonna just leave that there. Leave a little halo on the side there. So basically it's just that nice light medium green color. All of this too, when it dries, you can go back in and add, again, like another line like here, it's darker. These are the plum tomatoes. Still kind of using that carmine hydrus color. And these could be, I don't know what I put over here, beefsteak or whatever. Could be Cherokee purple. That's kind of what it could be. So again, with the purple, kind of red on the bottom. And I'll add purple on top. Gonna mix a nice purple. So, onto Prussian blue. Whoops, a little too much paint. I went overboard. I grabbed some magenta. Got the pretty purple, but then we add that cadmium red light and it changes it to like that beefsteaky kind of purple. Because it's an orangey kind of red. See, there we go. And I'll leave that little halo there. Kind of looks a little too similar to the other one. I'm going to add some green streaks to it too on this one. I'll leave some spaces in between the purple and go ahead and add some green in there. See that? You leave a little white space. Then I'll take my green, play around with blue. A little messy, but you get the idea. Sometimes it's fun to play with the mess. Adding in some of that red. And here. So it's a nice combo color situation happening. Now for the garlic, you know, it's just like a light yellowish brown. I can use some yellow ochre. I can use some cadmium yellow deep. I got this color all messed up over here. Okay, nothing wants to play right. Burnt umber. I'll water these down big time. And just kind of go in here and put a nice little wash of color. See? Just a little brown. You can really get it loose with more water on it to get it lighter. Just like this. See how I'm just kind of like lightly touching the areas. I'll tippy tap. And I'll do the same thing for the ones on the other side. They're out of view, but you get the point. And now we're going to mix up some. But by the way, before everything dries, if you want to go back in and add like another wash of color, so getting my red here, see, even deeper. Play around with that, adding the color. I always kind of add it to like one side, just a preference thing for me. You can change it up any way you want. I'm gonna add like an all orangey kind of color here, and now we're gonna do the dark green, right? For the leaves, I always do Prussian blue, like I did before. Prussian blue, yellow, and a touch of burnt umber. It's just a preference that I do. You can make it any color you want. Add more brown, and you're just kind of wiggling the paint to those little V's, little lines. Don't have to be super precise. I'm going really fast because it has that really sketchy kind of look. See that? Little teeny ones here. They're always kind of like a deep green. They're not really light. And it's just like this. Just wiggle like almost like a U or a V. And it doesn't have to be perfect. See? Going in here, the green beefsteak. And over in here. So I don't want to bore you with all of them. Just going to fill in all these ones. Some you can see, some can't, some out of camera view. So there's the kind of the tomatoes. Now we can play around with, there's a lot of empty space here. What do you do with that? Maybe add some fun stuff like some herbs, right? So I'm gonna water down my green, and you can kind of like just make some wiggle herbs like parsley. And see, I did the wiggle lines and just kind of like making like little little wiggle V's is what I call them. Little teeny ones. These ones could be a bit bigger. Kind of have them go like this. Basil would be kind of cool too, because it goes with the tomato. So maybe put some basil here and just simple leaves, right? Basil. Do you grow basil? I grow tons of basil. Basil leaf. You can have some more basil leaves over here. Please, if you want to put some flowers in, do that. Gonna do the parsley kind of funky up here. See, it's just like these little strokes. Yeah, kind of go like that. It looks like the parsley. Just these wiggle strokes. Again, more like kind of go around your page, have fun with it. Woo. They can kind of connect a little bit, go like that. You know, what's good is to pull out things that you have in your house. If you have parsley, if you have sage, how about thyme would be nice. These things are kind of cool. And just adding them. You could just do like something like this. Stems. Could be chives. And I'm just going to do like little herb poking off that. Also, what you should do is you can write the words, what they are, right? These were beefsteak, so you can do it in red or green, whatever color works for you. Kind of keeping the same colors we have on the sketchbook. Beef, steak. Right? Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to make this color a little bit darker still. The zebra, what are these? Green zebra. Green zebra. And for the yellow ones, pear. All right, then we have cherry. Garlic. I mostly wrote it all in green. You could change it into red if you want. You know, depends how you want to do it. And the garlic, by the way, it's like one note. You go back in again, add in a little deeper value of the beigey green. Beigey green. The beige color with a little brown. And then the basil, let's add some veins, just the little lines, so it looks like the basil leaf. It's a lot of fun. Plum. Are these plum? These are San Marzianos. Oh yes, these are the San Marzianos. San Marziano. This is what they make all the sauce with. The Italians. See? I didn't do a flower, but you could put in a cute little flower, maybe like a yellow flower. Be kind of pretty, like a daisy. Just do like, it could be like a daisy or a sunflower or just kind of a poppy or something. Put some flowers in between them. They'd be kind of pretty. See, just simple little petals. Maybe a couple together. Go around your page. For the center of the yellow flower, maybe I'd just go in here and add like a little deep brown or black. So it's kind of like a black-eyed Susan in a way. Those come out in the summertime. Keep it simple. Don't make yourself crazy. So also you can use an ink like pen here. I have this fountain pen that I have that I've used in some of these other drawings and before this one. Go around, play around with that. Why not try a brush pen? It's a little thicker. It has a really kind of cool look. Just kind of putting this is a Sennelier brush pen, and it's kind of fun to play with. I like the thick and thin lines. So it's good to play. See, I'm just kind of, I'm not doing the whole thing. I'm just doing a couple of areas. Just gives it another unique touch to it. It's personal preference. You could have just left the way it was. But I like to just change things up a little bit. Adding a little black. It just changes it up a little bit. See how I just kind of do like a one little line around the greenery and the tomato. Again, don't have to do it. Just kind of fun to play with all this stuff when you're doing watercolor. Yeah. And that's that. So I hope this was fun, informative, enjoyable. Like I said, take like any kind of, subject matter. It doesn't have to be tomatoes. It could be any kind of, it could be all vegetables. It doesn't have to be what I'm doing. You're just changing up your sketchbook. You're adding different elements. I could have did 4 or 5 pages of vegetables alone, and that would be really cool. All 1 page of all green vegetables, 1 page of all red, orange. You get my drift. And then you could do fruit, summer fruit, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for coming by. I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.